We're here at 5 Points Fest. I'm here with Peter David. I'm ComicsVerse CEO, and I'm super excited to have my first video interview. I usually host the podcast, but I wanted to have one over here with Peter David. And remember, you're watching ComicsVerse. First off, I wanted to ask you about how great it is that you're bringing a lot of gay characters to the forefront. And I know you've been asked a lot about Richter and Shatterstar, and what made you choose to focus on their relationship? Was it that Richter was in XFactor at the time?
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, the main reason that I introduced Shatterstar into the series was to give Richter somebody to play off of. And when I brought him in, I had them face to face with each other for the first time, and I thought to myself, you know what? This is the 21st century. We've been hinting about this for years, and why not just be upfront with him? And I had the two of them kiss. And you have to understand that, to me, it was no big deal. It was, in fact, panel 5 of a 6-panel page. It was not like this was a full-page thing and, oh, my God, they've kissed and all that kind of thing. It was, to me, a throwaway moment. It didn't really mean much, but it meant a lot to a lot of people, obviously. And it meant so much that I wound up reading Google notices about it in Russian newspapers. I'm seeing the stuff that's written in Cyrillic, and I can make out Peter David and Shatterstar, and the rest of it's in Russian. It just had a huge impact, and I was very pleased about it.
Do you find that you get any pushback from fans who are maybe a little bit less progressive, or do you have any pushback from any companies you've worked with in terms of, writing more progressive characters?
From the companies? Absolutely not. No, there was no pushback whatsoever. I didn't have any editorial meetings. I just tossed it into the script, and I had no problems with it at all. I mean, the only person who gave me serious pushback was Rob Liefeld, God bless him, because the story broke and it had a news cycle, and that was fine, and it was all wearing down. And then Rob Liefeld came forward and said, no, Shatterstar is not remotely gay. He's like an ancient Greek warrior. And we're going, dude, if you had the slightest knowledge of history, you were aware of what the Greek warriors did before they went into battle. They banged the young boys who accompanied them. So, of all things for Rob to say, and apparently 99% of comic book fandom was aware of Greek history, something that apparently Rob didn't know about. And so it suddenly had this massive resurgence as everyone is piling on poor Rob. I mean, I felt badly for him, to be honest. But other than that, no, I didn't really get much negative reaction from the fans.
That's great that it was mostly positive. So in terms of XFactor, I have a feeling that Jamie Madrox is probably your favorite character, but I wanted to ask, who else did you enjoy writing for in that series? And was there a character that, as you were writing them, that really surprised you?
Well, to a certain degree, Madrox to start off with. But all of the characters I adored. I really grew to love Layla Miller. She started out as this character, and the fans didn't seem to know why she was there or care about her very much. And then around the 3rd issue, with her knowledge of the future alone, she managed to take out a guy who was attempting to assassinate XFactor. And as the guy is lying there dying, he says, "Who are you?" And everything around her is in blackness, and she holds up this flashlight, and she says, "I'm Layla Miller. I know stuff." And it clicks off the flashlight. And all of fandom went, "Holy God, who the hell is this kid?" And I really, had a great deal of fun writing the character, and then bringing her back and up-aging her from the future, which was, again, something that the fans were not expecting. But I was very pleased with the way Layla turned out.
Yeah, it was really interesting, her sort of evolution from the kid in House of M to who she became at the end of XFactor. So a few years ago, you came up with I remember talking with you about this once at New York Comic Con. You came up with a wonderful backstory for Polaris that was absolutely in canon. It went back to the airplane thing that happened, when her parents died pre-Len Wein X-Men. So how did that come about, and what made you decide to focus on Polaris's backstory?
It seemed like a good idea at the time. I just wanted to flesh out a little bit about Polaris and answer some long-standing questions about her, and that's where I came up with the idea that she was responsible for the death of her parents, but she had no recollection of it.
I'd say she's one of my favorites, so I'm really glad you wrote about her. And also, I noticed that your writing really spans a lot of different styles. I remember when I read The Death of Jean DeWolff, Spider-Man, I was surprised that you wrote it because I was reading your XFactor at the time. And of course, you wrote Hulk, Future Imperfect, which you're super well known for. Do you have a different approach to the different styles that you have, or do you kind of go into everything kind of the same?
Oh, no, I go into everything the same. I mean, ultimately, it all comes down to I'm trying the best that I can to tell the stories to the greatest effect in a way that fans will enjoy. I write pretty much everything the same in that regard.
And in terms of Ben Reilly, he was a villain in Clone Saga, and now he's a hero. Can you talk a little bit about what's ahead for him in terms of being a new hero in the Marvel Universe, or perhaps an anti-hero?
Well, I mean, Ben considers himself a hero, even though an imaginary version of Scarlet Spider said to him, you had a plan that was defeated by Spider-Man. That pretty much by definition makes you a bad guy. And the thing is that I think that in that regard, Ben's probably one of the most realistic individuals in the Marvel Universe, because in the real world, the people who we perceive as bad guys, ranging from everybody from ISIS to Donald Trump, sees himself as a hero. Everyone is the hero of their own story. And Ben Reilly is no different. He doesn't think of himself as a bad guy. He thinks of himself as somebody who is trying to help people. The fact that he tried to do so in such a spectacularly stupid way, to him doesn't matter as much as what his intentions were. So that's something that we are going to be very much exploring over the next issues. Kane is going to catch up with him, and there's going to be a major throwdown. And in issues 6 and 7, we are going to be doing a story that directly addresses his personality and why he is the way that he is.
That's really exciting, and you get to see a character from a different perspective, from their perspective, and I think the fans are going to get to learn a lot about that.
Yeah, I agree.
So really quick, I did this once with Chris Claremont. We had a really good time. We did kind of like a word association. When I mentioned a character, he kind of told me what he thought of them in 1 or 2 words. So really quick, I wanted to mention Polaris.
Would-be leader.
How about Havoc?
Another would-be leader.
Jamie Madrox.
Retired.
Rain Sinclair.
Retired.
Monet St. Croix.
Out there.
That she is, right? What about, Richter.
Struggling.
And Shatterstar.
Serene.
How about Layla Miller?
No stuff.
That's kind of the perfect thing to say about her, right?
Well, pretty much.
Yeah. And really quick, how about Ben Reilly?
Confused.
That's awesome. So thank you so much for this interview. We really, really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Not a problem.
So again, this is Justin Alba at ComicsVerse. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to check us out at comicsverse.com, and we'll see you on the website.